In today's video, I thought I would pay tribute to one of the most amazing ladies to ever walk the earth. My mother. My mother was born in primitive times when Yellowstone National Park was actually lined with yellow stones on dirt roads where the stones marked the way to go. Where an ancestral inheritance might mean you get grandpa's false teeth, or your car didn't have a windshield because you couldn't afford the luxury model. But through perseverance and accumulation of time, my mother grew to be an amazing woman filled with sophisticatedness and a bright mind that she passed on to her children. One of her greatest accomplishments, and something you probably didn't know, was that of becoming the best at certain games, and finishing a few before her tech-savvy children did. That is the focus of today's video. Games my mother rocked at. And one that she still beats us at today. Back in the early days of gaming, my parents got us Pong, then the Atari 2600, which was when I knew my mother was a gamer. A few of her favorites were Canyon Bomber, Pac-Man, and Frogger. Then we got the Atari 5200, and I noticed something. My mother rocked at video games. While I knew she liked Pac-Man for the Atari 2600, I didn't realize her skills until the Atari 5200 and she got to the levels with the keys. I was shocked to see my mother do better than me. While in retrospect, I realized that she was probably better at most of the titles on the 2600, but I was too young to realize it. Super Breakout for the Atari 5200 was the next game she was really good at. Another game that I never matched her awesomeness until much later. We all loved Joust, but again, my mother was the best player. She was also the first to figure out how to kill that annoying pterodactyl on a consistent basis. As we moved into the Nintendo era, my mother had a few favorites that, once again, she was the first to defeat. One of our favorites was a game called Solomon's Key. It was a fun game, that we could get quite a few levels into, but then just fail too much and give up. She then showed us how to beat the game. I still haven't beaten it. We were definitely impressed. The next game she dominated it was Gradius for the NES. Gradius is a fantastic shoot-'em-up, with really cool worlds and graphics that just amazed us at the time. Yes, again, my mother was the first to beat the game. Now fast forward a few years and Nintendo released the Wii. We had one of the best pack-in games ever, Wii Sports. Within the title was bowling, and my mother started playing it and getting just as good as any of us. Then, while I was up at the university, I get a call and it's my mother saying, I got a perfect game on 100-pin bowling. She had just called to rub it in that her score was better than my best score. Then I got a text with a picture of the screen of a perfect 300 game on the 10-pin game. She is the master. Now I thought she would just be happy being the best at those games, and ride that wave into the sunset. Nope, she is not done. I introduced her to a game called Peggle, and she started playing it and became pretty good. Now, when I say pretty good, I mean she owns every high score on the game. Every now and then I will finally be able to beat one of her scores, and I'll call and brag about beating one of her scores, but then a couple days later, she'll call back and just say, oh, go check the scores. And she will have beaten me once again. I know that my mother would not want me to make this video, so I'll tell her about it, after I have posted it. My mother is amazing, and has so many talents and skills far beyond just destroying us at some games. But I wanted to focus on this because it might give you a little idea of where I come from and why I'm such a video game lover. My mother not only taught me to be a respectable person grounded in faith and love for my fellow beings, but she taught me to enjoy my games and gave me some serious competition, destroying my scores at times. Many of you probably did not know this about my mother, and that's because she doesn't want to brag about how she kicked our butts at quite a few games. The older I get, the more I adore my mother, and this is just one of the things that fills my memories with awesomeness. My mother is always there, whether it be for a shoulder to cry on, pick me up when I'm down, cheer for me at basketball when I was younger, or to tell me she kicked my butt at a game. Now I will have to figure out how to dodge the shoes she'll probably throw at me for making this video. I love you, Mom.